Hello, and thanks for joining me on another episode of the Tech Exec podcast. What's that? Did I just change the name? Yes, I did. You want to know why? Feel free to drop me an email. Now, on this episode of the Tech Exec podcast, I want to talk about you as a tech exec not needing to go it alone. If you're following my emails, you've probably seen me write a bunch of times, don't go it alone, when I'm offering my services to tech execs. But this episode is not a shameless plug. It is actually how you should be using your team to enable you to be better in what you do. What am I talking about? Too often, what you end up doing is piling up more and more responsibility onto your own shoulders because you feel like you're the only one who can do it. It's up to you, it's your responsibility. Now, ownership is something that I see as crucial in leadership. And defaulting to that is a good start. It's way better than not caring enough. Yet, you should understand that it is not sustainable. You cannot be a power multiplier for your team if you end up piling up more and more work onto yourself. Why? Because you have a fixed capacity no matter what you think and no matter how much coffee you're gonna drink. Eventually, you'll end up with not enough time left to push on the real important things that you need to be focusing on. So, for example, let's say that you have your regular schedule, be it one on ones, thinking time, strategy meetings with the other executives, and similar activities. And you take on more and more change initiatives. We all know that change initiatives do not happen without anyone actually taking care of them. You have to push things forward. Surprise, surprise. I'm going to have an episode about change initiatives soon. But let's talk specifically right now about your involvement. You know that you have to push it forward, otherwise, it would stop, right? Well, right and wrong. Someone has to push it forward, but you cannot push more than a couple change initiatives forward at a given time. And that means that you cannot affect your whole organization as fast as you should be. When you're small and you only have a handful or a dozen developers, that might be enough. But what's going to happen once you get to 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on? You cannot trust yourself to be able to be on top of everything. Why? Because you're going to want to push on several things forward at the same time, and because you do not have enough capacity in order to keep track of every single thing at the level that it requires for your, I'm hoping, high quality bar. Now, what should you do? I'm guessing you already know it. Everyone tells managers that they should delegate. Delegation is one of the major assets of a good manager. You're able to use your people in order to achieve more. However, you'll find it surprising how many tech execs end up telling their managers that they should be not micromanaging and delegating more and letting them people be empowered and so on and so forth, yet they do not do the same when it comes to them. Why? Partly because they don't have someone like me nagging them to be real leaders, but also because we end up not thinking about delegation the way we should. You think that delegation, when it comes to change initiatives, mean throwing the responsibility at someone else. You might see it as passing on some chore to your people. That's what I'm hearing from my clients. But you should know that that's all wrong. If something is truly important to you, you should be able to sell it to your people so that they will see it as something truly important for them and for the organization as well. And if your lack of delegation doesn't come from that, but from simply you're right now listening and thinking to yourself, yeah, I'd love to do that, but what can I do? None of my managers are good enough to do this, or they don't have enough capacity to do this. You're actually doing them a disservice. Think if you heard the same being said on a one on one from one of your managers, would you just tell them, yeah, I get you? No, you'd probably tell them, all right, let's figure out a way to do it anyway, because you have to. And the same applies to you. When it comes to delegation, you have to understand and investigate why don't you delegate? Either you suck at it and you simply cannot get people to do things for you, or you think that your people cannot do things even if they want to. What you should be doing, if it's the former, and you basically suck at delegating and getting people to follow through, you should work on how to do that. You should learn how to handle change initiatives. You should have a clear process for following up and making sure that things happen. If you need any help, really send me an email. But what do you do if you're thinking to yourself, my people simply cannot? They do not have the capacity, they do not have the ability. I can't trust them to do that. Well, what do you know? You're a manager. And what do we managers do? We coach people to be better at things. You don't simply shrug your shoulders and say, I'm gonna move on. They cannot be helped. Because if you think that, you should not be having them be managers at all. Coach your people to be able to do these things for you. They will be empowered by being able to push changes into your organization. And actually, this now is going to repeat another layer down. If you delegate well, you can help them delegate even better. And all these levels of delegation are going to help your organization improve that much faster. Sometimes, for big enough initiatives, you're not going to delegate to a single manager. You're going to delegate to a group. Some would call them champions, and have those champions work together to push on forward. All of a sudden, you're clearing up more and more time off your calendar and more of your cognitive load so you can focus on what's going to happen next. You can push the organization forward. You're going to teach your own managers to push the organization forward. And slowly but surely, you can all become better power multipliers of your own teams and the organization as a whole. Because that's essentially what management boils down to. And as a leader, you have to get this aspect of your work right. You cannot do it all by yourself, and you shouldn't try to. You should use your organization. There's a reason you're hiring these people. And together, get change much faster. As a final note before ending, if you're thinking, what's faster? Just in the past week, I had told to 3 different execs that they should get rid of the notion of having these 6-month themes for improving people and processes. 6 months is forever. No one even recalls what you started 3 months in. There's no reason to do it like that. I honestly and frankly believe you should be aiming at much faster iterations of improvement and change in your organization. Aim for 2 months when it comes to your own initiative. If you're wondering how to manage these, my latest blog post on my website, avivben-yosef.com, linked in the show notes, is exactly about this, the executive operating system. And you should be reading it next. Be a power multiplier, delegate well, and what do you know? You're going to see magic happening. That's it for this time. Thank you very much for joining me again. As usual, you can drop me an email. It's in the show notes. Feel free to subscribe, share, retweet, etc., and so on. I love getting all your emails, so thank you very much, everyone, and talk to you soon.